Newsweek revealed on May 12 a recent report from the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, CIA. The CIA believes China tried to prevent the World Health Organization from sounding the alarm on the coronavirus outbreak in January, a time when Beijing was stockpiling medical supplies from around the world, the report said. The report continued. China threatened the WHO that the country would stop cooperating with the agency's coronavirus investigation if the organization declared a global health emergency. According to Newsweek, 2 U.S. intelligence officials confirmed the contents of the report titled U.N. China, WHO Mindful But Not Beholden to China. The UK's Daily Mail reported on May 13 that the alleged delay came at a crucial time in January, as the virus was spreading around the world undetected and China was stockpiling medical equipment and protective gear made in the U.S. and elsewhere. According to data from the China's General Administration of Customs, Beijing imported 2.4 billion pieces of personal protective equipment between January 24th and February 29th, including more than 2 billion masks and 25.38 million pieces of protective clothing.
As of January 31st, there were at least 22 countries around the world outside of China with confirmed cases of Chinese Communist Party CCP virus. The spread had already reached 4 continents except Africa. At that time, the CCP already knew very well that a pandemic was inevitable. The CCP's frantic worldwide search for medical supplies was in fact a preparation for this major outbreak.
The CIA's report was the second from Western intelligence agencies related to the virus outbreak. Last week, the German weekly Der Spiegel reported on the German intelligence agency's assessment of the WHO and the role of the CCP. The report disclosed that on January 21st, China's leader Xi Jinping asked WHO chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus to hold back information about a human-to-human transmission and to delay a pandemic warning.
As we can see from mainland media's own reports, the CCP already knew well at the end of December of last year that the virus is capable of human-to-human transmission. And in early January, the CCP, already knew that this virus is highly similar to the SARS virus in terms of its infectivity and its mechanism when invading human cells. This means that the CCP's cover-up of this epidemic was malicious.
Germany's Federal Intelligence Service estimated that the world lost 4 to 6 weeks preparation time in fighting the virus because of the CCP's suppression of information.
The CCP, does things entirely from the standpoint of consolidating its own ruling power. It has never thought about whether such a cover-up could wreak havoc on the entire international society, which is why covering up the epidemic was its first choice.
The WHO dismissed the notion that Xi Jinping himself intervened, but declined to address specifically the question of whether Chinese officials made any effort to delay or change the announcement of a public health emergency of international concern, PHEIC, Newsweek reported. Xi stressed in his meeting with Tedros on January 28th that regarding this epidemic, I have been personally directing and deploying the epidemic prevention and control work. On December 31, 2019, the CCP made its first report to the WHO about the discovery of a novel coronavirus case in Wuhan. Later, the WHO followed the CCP's narrative, claiming to have found no clear evidence of human-to-human transmission of the virus. It was not until January 20th that the CCP finally admitted the virus could definitely transmit human-to-human, but the WHO refused to declare it a global public health emergency when it voted twice on the issue from January 22nd to 23rd. On January 30th, the WHO admitted to misjudging the outbreak and declared a global public health emergency. Tedros Adhanom fought hard to defend the CCP on that day, praising the CCP for its effectiveness in preventing the epidemic. Up until early February, the WHO had been opposing travel and trade restrictions adopted by countries to curb the spread of the epidemic. U.S. President Donald Trump has since publicly criticized the WHO as being the puppet of China, which led him to halt U.S. funding for the organization in mid-April. The CCP is now also facing growing international scrutiny as the world looks to hold the CCP accountable. Tang Jinyuan also said that the reports from the Western intelligence agencies have proven that the pandemic was a man-made disaster caused by the CCP, which will give legal basis to international claims that aim to hold the CCP accountable.